Collaboration in music. If you look at a list of the top songs right now, many of them are collaborative, featuring more than one artist. And this trend is not exclusive to popular music. Even the most underground indie artists are collaborating with each other. And while collaborations have happened through the decades of music, they are much more common now. And this is because it's easier than ever to collaborate with someone. For a while, in order to record music, you had to go to a studio, rent out the space, and it was a very expensive process. So when you wanted to collaborate, you had to bring in someone else and rent that studio space. So it had to either be someone who lived in close proximity to you, or you had to fly them out. So it's just very expensive to collaborate. Now, many artists have the capability of recording in their home. And so all of a sudden the world has opened up and a collaboration can happen anywhere remotely. And it is very easy. One cool result of this is you get really interesting collaborations now. You can have an electronic producer in LA collaborate with a country singer in Nashville, and they might not have crossed paths because they're in different music scenes in different parts of the country. So it's a lot easier to collaborate now, but why do it? Honestly, it's even easier to not collaborate and just work on music by yourself. Having complete creative control is like the ultimate freedom. Like when I'm making music on my own, I don't have to worry about any of my ideas being shot down or people not liking how it sounds, because it's just me, I'm just making my stuff. Whereas when you're working with someone else, you have to be willing to let your ideas go and to not use some of the things that you come up with. As great as they might seem in your head, a certain lyric or a certain chord progression or something, you have to be willing to put those aside and try something else and be open to ideas that might be out of your comfort zone. They might be a little bit like not what you'd usually do, but it doesn't mean they're not good. And this is where the magic happens in collaboration. It's taking us a little bit past the creative ruts that we normally find ourselves in. And it's when we add someone else to our creative process, they see things a little bit differently. And then we combine that with the way that we're doing things, and you get this like new flavor, this new blend. And I think this is the magic of collaboration. And it's also the challenge of it, because you have conflicting ideas, there's tension, there's friction working with other people. And it's learning to let our ego take the back seat and willing to be open to another person, letting them in, being vulnerable. And this is why collaboration is a beautiful thing. If you watch the credits of a movie, you notice that there are countless names, because it takes so many people to create a film. It is the ultimate form of creative collaboration. So in a similar way with music, we can accomplish much more together than we can on our own. Now, I do think it's important for every artist to create on their own as well as with others, because there's a pure expression when you create by yourself, and it's also a place of experimenting, of learning, of getting better at your craft. And really, I think the best collaborators are those who have spent a lot of time creating on their own, of honing their skills, of getting really good at what they do. And then when someone else joins them, it's just that much better. So here's why you should collaborate. You're gonna learn a lot about yourself. When you bring someone else in and they can objectively look at what you're doing in your creative process, you're gonna actually get some feedback and hear things that will help you just discover like, oh yeah, I'm actually just like really good at making beats, and that's actually what I love to do. Or I'm really actually good at finding melodies, or really good at just writing lyrics. Like when you have bring someone else into that, they can give you that feedback and help you learn about yourself. It helps you let go of your ego and not hold on to your ideas so tightly. Because sometimes I think we hold on to ideas and it prevents us from progressing, and it prevents us from actually improving and getting better. And like right beyond this idea that we're holding on to, there's so much better stuff. It allows us to create stuff that we never would have thought of, like completely new things. And also some of the coolest works that maybe we have ever done is through working with other people. And finally, it's just fun to bring someone else into the process, to bounce ideas back and forth and to create together. There's something really enjoyable about creating together. It can be kind of difficult finding who exactly to collaborate with. Like you might get a comment like, hey, we should collab, or a DM here like, hey, it'd be super cool to collab, but you don't know if it's gonna work out. So how do you find that? There's so many different elements that come into play to create the synergy needed for a really good collaboration. And that sometimes takes time to find the right people for that. And I know not all the collaborations are gonna work out. Like someone might reach out, or I might reach out to someone and be like, hey, it'd be really cool to collaborate. And it just doesn't work, but we can at least give it a shot. We can at least try, we can at least start kind of bouncing ideas or start talking and seeing okay, is this gonna work? And I think you learn pretty quickly if it's not gonna work. So if there's just not a connection with the other artist, I think that's a pretty clear indicator that the collaboration is not gonna work out. It's also important to align expectations with a collaboration, because I think sometimes people reach out and they're just looking for like a free beat. They're like, hey, let's collaborate, but really I just want you to make a beat for me. Even if it's not their intention to be that way, it can come across as them being kind of unequal, like they're asking for a lot of you and they're not really giving a lot in return. So finding a way for it to be like mutually beneficial, or just to have set the same expectations with each other. How can this be a win for both people? And one really cool part of collaborating is it promotes both artists. When you're featured on a track, that promotes you and it promotes the other artist. So if everyone is being attributed correctly and they're in the featured part on Spotify, and also if the royalty splits, there's this phrase in Nashville that's 1 word, 1/3, and that means if you contributed even just 1 word to a song and there's 3 people collaborating, that would give you 1/3 of the royalties. And I think this just makes sense with royalty splits of however many people you are collaborating with, it is an equal division of those people. So if it's 2 people, it's 50%. If it's 3 people, it's 33.33%, and so on. So it makes sense to collaborate with other artists who are at a similar skill level and sound quality level, and also maybe at a similar point in their careers with their amount of listeners and stuff like that, just so it is a mutually beneficial project. There are many tools to accomplish collaboration, so find whatever works best for you, whether that's a web-based DAW where you can both work on the same set at the same time, or that's just sending ideas back and forth in voice memos or on Dropbox or Google Drive or whatever it is. One method of collaborating that I've done with my buddy Eddie, who goes by Good Shivers, is we actually send the project file in Ableton back and forth. So we freeze all the tracks, so any effects or plugins that we have that the other person doesn't, those get saved onto the set. We upload that to Dropbox, and then the other person can make changes. And how we do this is it's kind of like playing tennis or ping pong, where I'll make some changes, put some beats in, do something, send it back to him, he'll listen to it and then add some changes, and then he'll put it back in my court. And so it's just a cool way of like going back and forth until we both kind of feel it's done. And this is just a fun way of collaborating. And Eddie lives in Tennessee and I live in the Northwest, so we never would have met, but I met him on TikTok, and now we've created 1 track already together. And it's just cool, like doing stuff like this. So I want to encourage you to be open to collaborating, even if you don't know how to do it exactly. Just start trying things and see what works. Send each other lyric ideas back and forth. Maybe you send 1 lyric line and then the other person has to do the next one, and you just go back and forth until you have a complete song. Or if you're really good at making beats, make a beat and see if you can find someone else to rap on it or sing on it. If you're really good at rapping, like find someone to make a beat for you. Like if you're really good at writing lyrics but you don't know how to like create chords and stuff, find someone who can create those for you, and see if you can work together and see if you can really make it a win-win for both people and benefit each other. And also just learn in the process, be open to that journey of learning and discovering more about yourself and discovering how to work with other people and let people in and just create together. There's so much magic in collaboration. I think that's why we're seeing so much of it right now. And it's worthwhile, if you're an artist, to reach out to someone or be open when you get those DMs to maybe just try it out, see if it works. Because you never know when you might get that collab that turns into something really amazing. If you'd like to collaborate with me, I actually created a form that kind of helps me determine our musical compatibility. So I'll have a link to that. Also, it could give you inspiration if you want to create something similar. It's just an easy way to direct people to that if they're interested in collaborating. You can fill this out and then kind of have a better idea of like, okay, yeah, actually I think this might work out. Let's explore this. So it's kind of a good first step in determining a collaboration. So let's keep making music together and on our own. And remember to create every day.